Hey Guardians, I just want to let everyone know that I do have both a Twitch and a Twitter, and I'm very active on both. Feel free to come give me a follow on both, links in the description. It's the year 2017, year 1 of Destiny 2, and everyone in the Crucible is rocking 450 RPM auto rifles. It's 2024, it's Season 23 in Destiny 2, and everyone is using 450 RPM auto rifles. What's going on, Guardians? With the recent sandbox changes, auto rifles have seen a major spike in popularity, and today we're talking about an absolute beast of an auto rifle, and that's Prosecutor from the Prophecy Dungeon. Now, this is a 450 RPM ARC auto rifle that can be farmed from the first encounter of the dungeon, and it's well worth your time because that first encounter is easy and this weapon is very much worth it. In fact, of all the guns in the dungeon, this one might be the one most worth your time. Now I want you to take a look at our perks in the third and fourth column because goddamn, that is a perk pool. In the third column, Discord, Dragonfly, Gutshot Straight, Keep Away, Rewind Rounds, and Zen Moment. Fourth column, Cascade Point, Frenzy, Golden Tricorn, Tap the Trigger, Target Lock, and Volt Shot. There are a lot of amazing combos here, especially for PvP, so let's jump right into it. First, for your barrels. To be honest, just about anything here is viable. The only one I would avoid really would be full bore, because the hit you take to your handling and stability just isn't worth it. But this weapon does struggle a bit in the range department. Base range only gives you 29 meters, so I would look for one that does give you some range. Ideally, I would say small bore, but hammer forged rifling, corkscrew rifling, or potentially even extended barrel aren't bad options either. Now for your magazine perk, ricochet rounds for the usual reasons, range and stability. For your masterwork, go for range, though stability or handling would be decent second options as well. Now that gives you a stat spread of 82 range, 59 stability, and 46 handling if you go with range. I'm sure you've noticed that I'm not overly concerned with the handling, something I'll talk about later, but first, getting into those third and fourth columns. In the third, talking PvP first, my favorite options are by far Zen Moment and Keep Away. Now, Zen Moment mainly for the flinch resistance, and Keep Away for the plus 10 range, plus 20 reload speed, and the boost to weapon accuracy. In the fourth column, Target Lock, Tap the Trigger, or Golden Tricorn, Frenzy or Cascade Point if you're Cami Cakes. As far as combos go, my favorite overall combo is Zen Moment with Target Lock, flinch resistance, and the potential for some free damage. No, Target Lock isn't as insane on auto rifles as it used to be on SMGs, but it does offer some forgiveness and will help you against overshields, two very important things in the current sandbox. Flinch resistance because the flinch in Destiny is just absurd. Except on bows and special weapons, it's fine there. Except on sniper rifles, because if I shoot someone in the face twice with Ace with Mori procced and they still snipe me one more time, I'm actually going to lose my mind. But that is my favorite combo overall. It just helps make this gun very consistent. My second pick would be Keep Away with Target Lock. Keep Away just because a little extra reach and a little less weapon bloom is never bad. Now, as a quick note on Target Lock, the only real issue here is just Prosecutor's mag size, coupled with its slow rate of fire. To proc Target Lock, you have to hit 12.5% of the magazine. On Prosecutor, that's around 4.12 rounds in the mag. Let's assume that round's down and you're landing 4 shots. You'll likely already be halfway through a gunfight. And on top of that, Target Lock on this thing just doesn't affect anyone above Tier 8 Resilience, but from Tier 3 to Tier 8 Resilience, you can kill in 5 head 2 body as opposed to 6 head 1 body. Below Tier 3, and you can kill in 6 crits as opposed to 5 crits 2 body. But where Target Lock will really help is fighting overshields or opponents in a rift, and given that for the moment overshields are still everywhere and just about every warlock in the game is just sitting in a rift with a 120 or a pulse rifle, it's still very, very helpful. Those are roles that can be used safely in pretty much any activity. They lean heavily into consistency, but if you want something for slaying out in 6s, then I would go once again Keep Away or Zen Moment with Golden Tricorn. Tricorn will give you a stacking damage buff, get a weapon kill, and get a 10% damage buff for a few seconds. If during that time you get an ability kill, then that jumps all the way up to 50%. Now, getting both stacks of Tricorn can be a tall order, but even that one stack will just still help the gun hit a little bit harder. Now, one niche role I'll mention briefly is Gutshot Straight coupled with Target Lock. Now, Gutshot isn't something I recommend on most weapons, but it works okay on 450s, and if you combine Target Lock with Gutshot, it can actually massively improve your forgiveness. With Gutshot and Target Lock, on Tier 7 through Tier 10 Resilience Guardians, you can kill in 5 crits and 2 body shots. Tier 3 to Tier 6, 4 crits and 3 body. And below Tier 3, you're still looking at 6 crits. But it will also take your body shot time to kill from 1.07 seconds on anyone below Tier 8. Above Tier 8 and you're at 1.2 seconds. That's just barely above the time to kill of a 120 hand cannon. Now, of course, the only real issue with this combo is Gutshot does hurt your aim assist, but if you're someone with the accuracy to make it work, then this is a very, very lethal combo, and one that I'm going to try to get next time Prophecy is up, because I'm just really curious to see how it feels. Again, a very niche role, but depending on the player, a very strong one. Now, as far as performance goes, I took the 2 best roles I got, neither of which are the ones I want, by the way, despite farming for basically a week straight, thank you Destiny, into the Crucible, and even with half-assed rolls, they performed beautifully. The big thing about auto rifles is even in the previous sandbox, they were very unforgiving when compared to other weapons. In the new sandbox, they're still very unforgiving, but most of our other primaries are also very unforgiving. So it puts autos in a much better spot than they were previously. But this thing was ripping people up. I was regularly getting 30+ defeat games without too much trouble. And the role that performed best was by far Target Lock. Now, of course, I paired this with my rat class. The thing about 450s is they're just not very good for aggressive play. That's more the realm of autos like 600s or 720s, but 450s are distant weapons. They're really meant to be used in a similar manner to something such as the Messenger, albeit with less range. If there's one perk I wish this weapon had, it would be Kill Clip. That might help it make it a bit better suited for more aggressive play. And for that reason, I don't really use 450s all that often, but outside of that, this weapon performed wonderfully. Now, moving on to PvE, you do have some good options here. Most of the weapons in this dungeon seem to be more PvP focused, which is fantastic, especially for new players or free-to-play players who may not be able to run content with higher-end PvP weapons. But there's some good stuff here for PvE too. Now, for your magazine, I like anything that increases mag size or reload speed for PvE. Barrel and Masterwork is pretty well up to you. In that third column, you have Rewind Rounds and Dragonfly. Rewind Rounds can be helpful in keeping that mag topped off, and Dragonfly is great for ad clear as enemies will explode on a crit final blow. And you do also have Gutshot, which can be helpful in PvE just for some extra damage, as well as Discord. Either of these are fine, but I would still prefer the previously mentioned options. Discord in particular, I think, is just better suited for special or heavy weapons. Then in the fourth column, Frenzy, Golden Tricorn, Target Lock, and Volt Shot. Frenzy will give you free damage just for being in combat for several seconds, which is very helpful in PvE. Golden Tricorn is very easy to proc and keep proccing in PvE, and that 50% damage buff is extremely helpful, particularly in endgame content where enemies soak up bullets like crazy. Target Lock is good for the same reason. It's free damage, and that's never a bad thing. Then, of course, Volt Shot. When you get a kill and reload, it will jolt the next target you shoot. Also great for ad clear. Now, I think I'm mostly going to be looking for Dragonfly with Volt Shot or Frenzy for ad clear, or Rewind Rounds with Frenzy, Golden Tricorn, or Target Lock for ad clear, or just a generally more well-rounded build in the case of Target Lock and Frenzy. Now, would I really call this an S-tier PvE weapon? Probably not, but there's still some decent options if you really want to take it into PvE, though I would be reluctant to take it into high-level content such as GMs or Master Raids. But that's all from me today, Guardians. Again, kind of a shorter video, but I'm trying to just keep these reviews on these Prophecy weapons rolling while they're hot. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button and leave me a comment with your thoughts on Prosecutor and the Prophecy weapons in general. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button with the bell icon. It really helps the channel out, and share this video with anyone who you think might find it helpful, informative, entertaining, so on and so forth. For now, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, Guardians.